Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about, in my opinion, the top 5 best knives that you can get right now under 50 bucks. Now, I am doing this kind of a, back-to-back video. I just went over my top 5 favorite knives under $100, but now we're going to do under 50 bucks. You can still get very, very good knives for under the $50 mark. So let's just get right into it. I will have all of the knives linked below in the description, and I will try to find the best prices available. All right, so we're going to start off with a classic. We're going to start off with the Opinel number 8. If you're looking for a very, very classy knife and you're looking for a knife that will perform amazingly for its price, definitely get an Opinel knife. These are made in France and they have a full flat grind. These things are amazing, amazing slicers. This knife slices better than any knife I have ever owned. This thing is just phenomenal at slicing. You have a natural wood handle, you have very, very comfortable ergonomics, and you have a really, really secure collar lock. So basically this collar slides, opens up the blade path, open it up with the nail nick, and then you close it, and now that knife, is not going anywhere. So, or that blade's not going anywhere. Really, really nice form factor, and these things are cheap. Like the Opinel number 8, I think you can get these for like 20 bucks. They're super, super cheap, and they're just made really well, and they just work. These are probably the most utilitarian knives you can get on the market. This knife is the definition of design over materials over everything. This knife is just a phenomenal design. It works, and it's one of my favorite knives for under 50 bucks. So definitely pick one up. If you don't own an Opinel, I would 100% recommend an Opinel knife. All right, so next up, we have no stranger to the knife industry. We have the Ontario Rat number 2. Now, you guys are probably tired of hearing about this knife, but there's a reason that this knife is always on top lists, because it's a phenomenal design. Honestly, count how many times I say phenomenal in this video, because I know I say it a lot, but all these knives are just so good, and this is no stranger to, this space. I mean, everybody should own an Ontario Rat, 1 or 2. I like the 2 better. It's a smaller design, it's more EDC friendly, and this knife just works. You have a really, really nice blade shape. You have a nice little thumb ramp with some jimping on it for very, very good control. Really, really nice ergonomic shape. You got all, these nice curves everywhere, so this thing just fits in your hand like a glove. You have AUS 8 steel. I don't mind AUS 8. I've always never had any issues with AUS 8. I have to sharpen it a little more than, like the higher end steels, but it really, really doesn't matter to me. The action on this thing, as you can see, is just, oops, I'm fucking it up. It's just absolutely amazing. I mean, this knife is just so freaking smooth. I have never done any maintenance on this knife. I've owned this knife for over 5 years, and as you can see, this knife has been beaten up, and I've never done any maintenance on it, and look how smooth it is. It's just absolutely butter action. You have these like synthetic handles on here, steel liners, liner lock. You have a, pocket clip that works. It's not deep carry, which is all right with me, but it definitely works 100%. You have a 4-way pocket clip, tip up or tip down. This knife is just so versatile, so definitely pick one up. All right, so next up we have kind of a more hard use knife. This is a knife that's kind of new to my collection. This is the Cold Steel Verdict. I think it's a newer design from Cold Steel. I did a video on this guy where I basically fixed an issue with it and I disassembled it and kind of did some maintenance on it, and it's performed very well ever since. I think it was just kind of a dud from the factory, but I ended up fixing it, and this knife has become one of my favorite knives. The action on it is very good. I mean, a lot of people kind of hate on Cold Steel because their knives don't have good action. Every single Cold Steel knife I've ever owned has had very good action. It's very easy to open it with the thumb stud. And I absolutely love this knife. I mean, you have dual thumb studs, but one of the thumb studs sticks out more for if you're a righty or lefty. You can always reverse that if you are a lefty. And because this is a backlock design, it's ambidextrous, and you can also flip the pocket clip to the left or right hand side. And you have a deep carry pocket clip. No recessed screws, kind of drives me nuts, but the deep carry pocket clip does work. You have a lanyard hole. You have Cold Steel's Triad Lock, which is the strongest locking mechanism on the market by far. Really nice Tanto profile. You have AUS 10A steel, just like the with the Ontario Rat. I don't mind AUS blade steels. AUS 10A is obviously a little bit better, but it's still a phenomenal knife. I mean, this knife just fires open really reliably. I know that I am getting a super safe lockup with that Triad lock. And just like the Cold Steel Code 4, which I featured in my last video, you have this little sharpening choil right here so that when you close the knife, it kind of hits against your finger. So closing this knife is an absolute breeze. It does not bug me at all. This thing is an excellent slicer. So there's that. It's got that going for it. And you have G10 scales. So this knife is actually very thin and very, very lightweight. So awesome, awesome, really, really badass knife. I love this thing. I would 100% recommend this knife if you're looking for a really nice Tanto blade under 50 bucks. So definitely pick this one up. Cold Steel, verdict. All right, so this is another, titan of the knife industry. This is the Kershaw Cryo, and I absolutely adore this knife. I've owned like 3 Kershaw Cryos now. I have beaten the absolute hell out of them. This is my 3rd one I've owned. I've had this one for about 6 months, and man, these things just perform so well. And honestly, these things go longer than I ever expect. I have dropped these things from roofs, and they have fallen 20, 30 feet onto solid concrete, and they still don't break. They definitely get a little loose, but I've broken these things because I have pride with them. I've done things you're not supposed to do with a knife, and they perform every single time. And these things are so cheap. They're like 50 bucks. I think you can get these on average from like $40 to $45. The most I've seen these things go for is literally $49.99 on the dot. So let's kind of go over some basic specs here. You have Kershaw's Speed Safe opening. So you have the flipper tab, and then I took off the thumb studs because I hate the thumb studs on this knife. The thumb studs are just overly big. They're honestly kind of gimmicky when you're trying to open the knife. They just don't really work. The flipper tab is definitely the way to go when opening this knife. You have a really, really nice blade shape here. And it does have 8CR 13 MOV steel. Say what you want about 8CR 13 MOV. It's a really, really solid budget steel. I don't have any issues with it. I really, really enjoy sharpening. So when I have to sharpen my knife, it's honestly really easy. I have a little Work Sharp field sharpener. I do like 5 or 10 passes on the diamond side of my, sharpener, a few passes on the ceramic rod. I strop it. This thing is razor, razor sharp. So I have no issues with 8CR 13 MOV steel. Solid in my book. You have a really nice deep carry clip. The screws stick out a pretty good amount on these, so I'm not really huge on that, but whatever. It is, it is what it is, but it's still a solid pocket clip. You have some nice jimping on the back, really, really good ergos. You have this nice, the flipper tab almost makes like a little finger choil to keep your fingers safe. And then you have a really nice little sharpening choil here as well. So it's very, very easy to sharpen this knife. Nice frame lock. And in classic Hinderer fashion, he is a fantastic designer. He puts a little disc here that basically stops the liner or the frame lock from basically overextending. So you can't break the frame lock here. So you have a nice little lanyard hole in the back. This is a 4-way reversible pocket clip, so you can do left or right hand carry, tip up or tip down, whatever you want to do there. Solid design from Rick Hinderer. He is a fantastic knife designer, and this is probably the closest you can get to owning a Rick Hinderer knife if you don't want to spend upwards of $100 to $200. If you're looking for a solid knife that will perform every single time, that is a really nice hard use folder for under 50 bucks, 100% go with the Kershaw Cryo. This thing is fantastic. So one of my favorite knives ever, the Kershaw Cryo, A+ in my book. All right, so last but certainly not least, we have a phenomenal knife from Sencut, which is the budget, I'm gonna put quotes here, quote unquote budget company. It goes We Knives, Civivi, and then Sencut. So this is supposed to be like the cheapest brand under the We Knife Company umbrella. And I don't think that this thing is budget at all. I mean, it is budget. You can get this thing for like 45 bucks. But this knife is amazing. I mean, this knife feels like knives that I have owned that are well over $100, $150, $200 zero tolerance knives. This knife reminds me a lot of the ZT. I think it's the 0450 CF, which is a really, really high-end knife. And man, this thing, it's just so good. So let's just get right into it. This is the Sencut Tynan. So really, really sleek, absolutely badass knife. So in terms of opening this knife, you have a flipper tab with some jimping. This thing flies open so good. This thing runs on bearings, so it is just so smooth. Every single time, this thing fires like an absolute rocket. And it's a manual knife, which I really, really enjoy. So in terms of the blade shape, you have a really, really nice blade shape here. Really, really good at slicing. You have almost a full flat grind, a little swedge there at the top, and you have a really, really nice dark stonewash finish. The handle is dark stonewash, but this is just a regular stonewash. I really, really like the look of it. You have a sharpening choil as well as a finger choil. So very, very good control on this knife. Really, really like that. You got some jimping on the back here. In terms of blade steel, you have 10CR 15 MOV, a little bit of a step up from 8CR. I don't mind it at all. Totally fine with the CR series of knives. You have a frame lock with some nice little jimping on there. I don't even know if you guys can see that. Kinda. But yeah, really, really nice little jimping on the frame lock. Lockup seems very secure, no blade play. You have a deep carry clip with recessed screws. Awesome, awesome, awesome little touch in my book. You have a fully open back design, makes this knife very, very easy to clean. Man, this knife is just so good for like 45 bucks. And every Sencut knife comes with a little carrying case. So really, really nice touch there. I can't believe that this knife is $45. You can get, it's crazy how far budget knives have come. It's very, very refreshing to see a knife like Sencut make a knife this good. It literally feels like a zero tolerance knife, and I'm not exaggerating. It feels so good, fully metal handles all the way down. Nice weight to it. It just feels so secure, especially with that finger choil. You can get really good control. Just an absolute fantastic knife. So that's basically my list. Top 5 knives under 50 bucks. You can get all these knives. I think you can get all these knives on Amazon. So I will link Amazon links for all of these down in the description. Yeah, fantastic knives. Highly, highly recommend every single one of the knives you see on the table. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Stay humble. Peace.